Okay, going live. And we are live. Okay, guys, welcome back to the channel on this fine Tuesday, wherever you guys are. Thank you very much for joining in with us. Quite a bit to get through on tonight's show. We do have updates on Manchester United's takeover, both from Qatar and from Ineos as well. As well as that, of course, we have all of the transfer news. Rasmus Hojlund, potentially a £60 million bid going in for him very soon, according to Dean Jones. And as well as that, Manchester United set to go in with a second bid for Mason Mount in the coming days. So things are finally moving. They're moving a lot slower than perhaps we would have wanted them to, but it does look like we are making some sort of progress towards finally doing something, because we do need it. Because make no mistake about it, all of our rivals are strengthening. We're seeing Arsenal going after Rice, Timber, Lavea. We're seeing Man City active in the market, of course. We're seeing Liverpool going after McAllister, signing him, looking for that next midfielder. Manchester United, we have not done enough in this window yet. And finally, we do seem to be making some progress. So Nick is down in the comments, and good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining in with us. Nick, good to have you with us, of course. So let's get started. Let's get talking about, let's go with the takeover first. We do have a couple of small details to get through, some stuff that might become interesting later in the week. Definitely things to keep an eye on for sure. So first and foremost is Manchester United do have their AGM, and that takes place 1 week today. So I think that's going to be a big day, because on that AGM, basically what happens, shareholders, guys who do own shares in Manchester United, they can come and they can ask questions to the ownership. They can ask questions about the sale. So I expect to see a lot of updates coming probably in the next week on that. There we will get for sure questions coming in from reporters. There will be questions coming in as well from the guys who actually own the shares. They will be asking the questions to the Glazer family. Let's hope we finally get some answers. Hey, else we got down there? Eric is saying, any update on the takeover? Yes, man, we're just starting off with the takeover tonight. And of course, Rajat is down there as well, saying, hello, what's up? Hope you're all good. Thank you very much for joining in with us, Rajat. Good to have you, man. Thank you very much, as always. So, in terms of this takeover, where are we going at the moment? So, this is coming out from the Daily Mirror. So, this seems to be good news if you are Sheikh Jassim. If you want Qatar as the Manchester United owners, I think you will like this next piece of information that we have got today from the news, and that is basically saying that the Glazer family now appear to have unity over their intention to sell Manchester United in full this summer. And a full sale, that means a Qatari sale. That means a Qatari takeover at Manchester United. So I'm sure Sheikh Jassim will be happy with that update. That hopefully will start to propel us forward in this long, drawn-out takeover progress, because this has been going on for weeks and months, and it's going to get close to the 1 year mark before it's finally complete. But with two big information there. First of all, the AGM questions will be asked by the media, by the press, and by shareholders to Manchester United. What is happening with the takeover? That's what they're going to be asking about. It won't be profits, it won't be dividends, it will be takeover. Who are we selling the club to? That is what shareholders will want to know. And good thing is with that as well, all of you guys can tune in for it as well. It will be broadcast live, probably on some financial or something, but that is something we can watch next week together maybe as well. In terms of other stuff coming out on the takeover, Ben Jacobs said all signs are pointing towards the six Glazers being determined sellers for the right price. So I think that is another positive update, which means we're kind of heading towards this Qatari takeover. We're kind of finally getting there. All signs are pointing towards it. I do think Radcliffe is in a very difficult position. If the Glazers want to sell in full, Radcliffe doesn't have the money to buy in full. That means it will be Sheikh Jassim, it will be Qatar as the ownership. Ashade is down there as well, saying good evening, everyone from South Shield. So thank you very much for joining in with us, man. Good to have you as always. And yes, let's see, do we have something else on the takeover in my notes? We do indeed as well. So this is coming from The Guardian as well. So the sense is, both privately and publicly, that the Glazer family are preparing to sell to Sheikh Jassim, and that he is the favourite. His 9-2 foundation is ahead of Jim Radcliffe in this moment in time. So whilst those are not big updates, they're not big groundbreaking stuff that guys that we're all hoping for, that we would have some progress, I think we have indications as to where it's going. I think maybe that's where we are at the moment. And This AGM next week will be big because shareholders, even if you own one share in Manchester United, you can attend it in person and ask questions. So if anybody is in New York next week and they want to spend 15 quid and go ask some questions to the Glazer family directly, they can do that. So that will be interesting as well. Rajad is down there, get Hojlund over Kolo Muani. Yes, and speaking of Rasmus Hojlund, we are running a poll in the comments, guys, for you to vote on as well. And that is, should Man United sign Rasmus Hojlund this summer? That's the questions. Who else have we got down there? Nick is saying the quicker the Glazers are out, the better. Absolutely. Cannot wait for those guys to go. And as well as that, we got Sagablo is saying, what happens if Erik Ten Hag and the Glazers fail to announce the new owner? I think Erik Ten Hag is furious, and this is something we've seen all week. So it started 2 or 3 days ago. It all came out with the Declan Rice stuff. So Manchester United, Erik Ten Hag would have liked to have gone in for Declan Rice this summer. They told him, no, we will not spend that money on Rice. We have walked away from Harry Kane. We have walked away from Kim Min-jae. We have lost out on Jurrien Timber going to Arsenal. And we have missed many, many first choice targets. So I'm sure Erik Ten Hag is absolutely fuming. He is bound to be raging with that. Rajad is down there as well. Why are Qatar in pole? I think Qatar are in the pole position for two real reasons. First and foremost, Radcliffe does not have the money needed to fully buy out the club. That is something that has been established. His whole takeover bid, his entire operation has always been pointed towards going for a partial takeover, buying over some of the Glazer family and keeping the other guys on to buy Joel and Avram out down the line. That has always been his plan. He has always wanted to buy out Edward, Darcy, Brian, Glazer, those guys, buy up their shares, be the majority shareholder, and then he would, in 2 or 3 years, go and buy out the rest of the guys. Absolutely. Irfan is down there saying number 9 first. Thank you very much for joining in with us, man. Really do appreciate all the support. And yes, absolutely, I think number 9 will be the first signing. I think we're looking at a bid for Hojlund. We're looking at a bid for Mount. Those are seemingly going to be the first 2 signings in this summer transfer window. That's what we're going for right off the bat. So I do think that is going to be good. I think it's what we need, and I hope we get it done early. But guys, if you think Rasmus Hojlund should be a Man United player this summer, let me know in the poll. We are asking you guys, should we sign Hojlund this summer? Yes or no? Let me know down below. So let's talk about it. Nick is down there saying the quicker the Glazers are out, the better. Oil me up. I do think I think what will happen is this takeover process will drag on, and then at the end it will go really, really quickly. That's what I think is going to happen. I might be completely wrong. We might get Qatari bid accepted tomorrow, and then it takes a month or 2 to go through. But I think this will drag on probably most of the summer before finally being finished around about August time, and then we got the proper owner test, which will take more time as well. Stanil is down there saying we are being fooled, the Glazers ain't going anywhere. I think at this point they probably have to. I think they would end up in a lot of legal issues if they did not sell the club at this point. It's been going on for so long, they would be accused of market manipulation and stuff. There are laws against this sort of thing, so I would expect that to happen. But this Glazer family, they're slippery guys. They can get out of just about anything. So let's have a look here at Rasmus Hojlund. So this is a player Manchester United have definitely been linked in for a long time. So this is coming from Dean Jones, and he says Man United would like to meet Atalanta in the middle ground of £60 million for Rasmus Hojlund. Who else have we got down there? Brightstar is asking, have they sold Man United? Unfortunately not, man. We are still going on. This takeover rumbles on, drags on week after week, but we're here the whole way through it, so I will be covering everything. So if we have big news, I will be on here jumping for joy and celebrating with you guys the Glazers finally being gone. But let's talk about Hojlund for a minute, because Hojlund is a player I think would be a very good fit at United. We're talking about a young guy, what, about 2021, has a lot of experience this season playing for Atalanta, has scored, I think it was 10 league goals and about 5 in the cup as well. So he does have that goal scoring knack, and I think he is a young player who would come in and improve us. I think 60 million is a lot of money, but I think long term he probably will be worth that. If he's worth 40 million now, next season he will be worth 60 million pounds. That's my honest opinion on it. The comments are flying in as well. Rajad, oh yep, Jim Radcliffe wants to buy the shares out 3, 4, 5 years from now. Yep, absolutely, that is his plan. That is what Ben Jacobs was saying earlier on Stretford Paddock. Actually, I was watching the show, so he was saying that the plan would be he would buy the majority of the shares now from the Glazer family who wanted out for a set price, and then 3 or 4 years he would buy out the rest at another price. So it could be more money, absolutely. Who else have we got down there? Sunil is saying Kim and Jai, Timber gone, Jones will partner Martinez the centre back. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe we'll get Daley Blind and Smalling back. Who else have we got down there? Jason is saying at this point we would struggle getting into the Champions League. Yes, I do agree with that. I think Erik Ten Hag himself said this last season, right at the end of the season. He says we do not need to invest to win. We need to invest to stay in the Champions League. And then we need to invest on top of that if we want to go out and try to win a Premier League. So that's what we have to do. Who else have we got? Brian is down there. I can see Ten Hag walking away soon. I mean, I'm sure he is absolutely fuming. It's like his transfer budget was based, he had no money to spend in January. Arsenal spent about 60 million. Chelsea spent 250 million. We saw Southampton spending 60 million. So clubs around us and clubs who got relegated outspent us in January. He had the same thing last season, lost out on a lot of first choice targets, and now he's having it all again. It's 150 million pound maximum spend for United. So that is really unfortunate. Let's see as well. Bright Stars down there saying, what's the problem with the Glazers? I think we all know the problem with the Glazers. If we're asking what's actually wrong with the guys, it's just greed, because anybody else would have took the billions and billions of pounds offered to them by now. They wouldn't be trying to hold on for a little bit of extra money. Who else have we got down there? We've got Lucky Singh as well, saying, Stephanie, I don't know what to think anymore. Nah, man, honestly, I think we're just at this point where it's like, what do we do? Do we sit? Do we wait? Do we get our hopes up? I mean, I think all of us, the excitement has worn off a long time ago. I think the excitement is gone. I think we're just desperate at this stage. We are begging this club to be sold, and I'm sure Erik Ten Hag is as well. He is reportedly furious with the takeover process. It's hurting his transfer budget. It's hurting his plans for next season. He said in May last season, sorry. So literally last month, he did not know what he had to spend in terms of the budget. He had a list of players, high quality players who would come in to improve us, and he did not know if we had the money to go on and actually buy those players. Who else have we got in the comment? Eric is down there, says, why are we struggling to get a striker while Mason Greenwood is available after the place dropped all cases against him? I think that's interesting. I think the Greenwood situation will definitely go on for a good while yet. I think, all things considered, we're looking at a club investigation, and the club investigation will be pretty much two parts, in my opinion. They will first of all ask the staff, the players, and the women's team, etc., what are their thoughts on him coming back. And I think the most important thing will be how the sponsors react. If we have sponsors threatening to pull out of deals, not looking Greenwood associated with their brand, I think United will take action, and I think they will follow the money in that case. I think if the players are fine with it, if sponsorships are fine with it, then there's a good chance Greenwood could come back. And I do honestly believe that, despite what you might think and what I might think, I think it will be a club decision, and they probably will go and look at how it's going to affect the money. If for example, Team Viewer said they want to pull out of United and they didn't want their brand with Mason Greenwood wearing it, that might be a big issue for United. That might be a big problem. If we do see something along the lines of where these sponsorships, these guys who are paying millions and millions of pounds to the club, are happy with Greenwood to be there, I think there's a better chance of him staying. Who else have we got as well? Rajat is saying, why wouldn't Ten Hag like to develop Hojlund's ability? Absolutely. I think Ten Hag would look at him as a very good young player with a lot of potential who we can improve and make into that right guy. Who else have we got as well? Irfan is saying United to win a Champions League. I would absolutely love it, man. I would love to be sitting here in May doing watch-alongs for the Champions League final. But I mean, I'll probably do it anyway, but it might not be Manchester United in it at this rate. Sunil has a very good point. Chelsea have already sold most of their deadwood to the Saudi League. What are we doing? I think a lot of that, what a lot of that has to come down to is basically the Saudi Arabians who they're selling the players to. They basically have large investment in Chelsea's ownership. So Chelsea's ownership is owned by Clear State Capital, which is owned by Todd Bully, but the Saudis are big investors. So there's basically been some sort of a deal done. That's what the news are speculating, that basically there's an agreement from Chelsea and the Saudi Pro League to sell their Deadwood players to them for money to help fix the financial books. That's probably what they're trying to do. But I mean, if the Saudis want to come and they want to offer us 50 million for Harry Maguire and 30 million for Anthony Martial, they can do that by all means, of course. Stephanie's down there saying good evening. Good to see you as well, Stephanie. Thank you very much for joining in with us. Who else is down there? Rajat says centre back is not our priority to get deals done. I feel like our priority might not be to get any deals done at the moment. I'm sure Erik Ten Hag is feeling the same. Let's see who else have we got. Rajat as well. Wait until July to get players and going for me and Zidane Iqbal going for a measly 1 million. What an incompetent deal. Yes, that's actually something we were about to move on to. Now, this of course has come from David Ornstein, so we can pretty much take this as fact. This is fact. So Zidane Iqbal, very promising young player, is going to Utrecht, and he is going for 1 million euros. I mean, that's just not good enough whatsoever. He had loads of comments going in as well. Lucky saying, I would like Hojlund and Mason Mount through the door. It's been a horror show. Absolutely. I hope we just get it done. Rajat says Joel's going on a trip and taking 500,000 of club money. Absolutely, he will. Expense. St. Don Bosco, Iqbal sold. Yes, Iqbal has been sold to Utrecht for 1 million euros. An absolutely embarrassing deal. Less than £1 million for a very young, talented player. A guy who we should have loaned out last season, got him some minutes, but it didn't happen. And it's so disappointing because I watched Iqbal last season in pre-season. And I thought there was a player there who definitely could have had a career at Manchester United. And unfortunately, it hasn't worked out. I think if you're going to sell a player, that's fine. But 1 million euros, we could have got so much more for Zidane Iqbal. He did recently sign a new contract. So, I mean, what are we doing? Like, how are we only getting 1 million? It is embarrassing. And if the rumours are to be believed that we have to sell players to get money to buy the players we need this summer, we're selling Iqbal for 1 million. We're trying to sell Eric Bailly for 2 million. I mean, it is kind of ridiculous at this point. Like, what are we going to raise with that? We're going to raise £10 million across the summer. I mean, that's not going to buy anybody. That'll be like half a week's wages for the squad or something ridiculous like that. Let me see as well. Rajat saying Greenwood thing won't be announced to the end of August. I do think it will be a long investigation. Absolutely. Tom is saying, I think Ten Hag has almost shot himself with De Gea. He knows the budget and he has done for a while. If he didn't fancy De Gea for the project, he should have known that a while ago too. I do think he probably knew that De Gea was not the long-term guy for this project with his distribution and how he comes off his line. I just feel like too many managers now have been hamstrung, have been hampered by the club's budget, by refusing to go out and really get the top level players we need. We've had a lot of players stay here far longer than what they should have. Anthony Martial, of course, probably David De Gea. We've got Maguire in there. We have McTominay, Fred. Other clubs would have got rid of those players by now, but we haven't. And we haven't got rid of them for the simple reason that we haven't got the ambition to try and improve upon these guys. Daniel is on there saying the GOAT. Good to see him, Daniel, man. Thank you very much for joining in with us. Lucky is saying, I want Mason Mount and Hojlund in now. Yes, I'm sure Erik Ten Hag is agreeing with you as well, Lucky. Absolutely. Who else have we got as well in the comments? That one is saying glazers out. Daniel is saying the GOAT as well. Thank you very much for that. Stephanie as well saying United should be sponsored by or not. Our lack of decision is alarming. No pun intended. Absolutely. Yes, maybe very sure would be an interesting sponsorship for Manchester United. And let's see as well, Daniel is saying thoughts on Speed meeting Ronaldo. I mean, that was a funny clip. I mean, I'm kind of glad that he did. Like, I don't really watch Speed videos, but like, you could tell it meant a lot to the guy. So I will say that there. Ashid said it's Murda and Arnold. Absolutely, it's Murda and Arnold. That is a real thing. I mean, we have a very incompetent director of football. We have Richard Arnold, who was a banker. He was Ed Woodward's best friend. These guys were Glazer enablers. I don't think they should be at this club anymore, especially once new ownership comes in. And I think whether it's Jim Ratcliffe, whether it's Qatar, I think they will look to move those guys on at board level and try to bring in some real directors, people who have some vision, some ambition, and want to win stuff. That's what we want. I mean, we don't want these guys sitting thinking, do we go and buy a new goalkeeper, or is it going to hurt our profits at the end of the season? We want to see, if Erik Ten Hag wants a goalkeeper, get him a goalkeeper. If Erik Ten Hag wants Harry Kane, let's get Harry Kane. That's what ambitious clubs would do. I mean, if Pep wanted Harry Kane, he would have him in the morning. That's the truth of it. Lucky is saying Fred being sold for 17 million. Yes, there is talk on Fred potentially leaving. It is in my notes. Let me just get that up as well for you. So this is coming from Jason Burt of The Telegraph. So Fulham are very interested in Fred, but so far no detailed discussions have been made over the structure of a deal, and Fred would be willing to join Marco Silva, so that's a potential one there on the out, which I think we do need to sell players, absolutely. Check that out for you guys. Yeah, so absolutely we need to sell some players, 100%. If Fred goes for 20 million, I think that's a good deal for Manchester United. Who else is down there in the comments? Sadiq is saying the Glazers do not want to spend money in our club. No, they don't, and it does come down to a couple of things. It's like it's a lot cheaper to keep players on than it is to sell them for nothing and then go out and spend some money on them. That would take ambition. We do not have that as well. Who else is down there? Qatar just says throw them out already. I wish we could. I really wish we could throw the Glazers out. I mean, if they just get those guys out, absolutely. As well, Rajat is saying we'll take Rabi on a free. Hopefully that deal is good. I think so. Yes, I think that's a smart deal. I think we're talking there about a guy who is a very good player. If we can keep his mother out of Manchester, I think that's a brilliant deal on a free. I mean, he had a very good season last season for Juventus, played in different areas, midfield. He also played in the left of a midfield three as well. So he definitely can do those sort of jobs. Clinton is saying Mount bid next. Yes, I do think the Mount bid is coming next. We do have some reports on that one as well. So that was basically breaking from a couple of different sources today. So Daily Mail, Daily Mirror, they were saying United going to go in with a second bid for Mason Mount. Rumored to be around 50 million pounds, so the last one was worth 40 million, so that is around a 10 million pound increase, and United are hoping that will be it, pretty much done and dusted. I do think Chelsea will ask for more money, but I think they will have to take the money at some stage. I mean, Mount has 1 year left in his contract. Chelsea have to sell. That's a good offer for a player who wants to leave the club. Absolutely. Who else have we got down there? Lucky is saying Fred, yep, sell him to 17 million to any club. And Sadiq is saying we need the Glazers out at United, and no to the rat, get Qataris in. Thank you very much for that. And I do think for anybody who did miss the start of the show, so we were talking about the takeover right at the start, so I will pull the notes up very quickly for that there for you guys. So I do think there is some stuff that we want to keep an eye on. I think in terms of massive updates, we haven't had any this week now, but what we do have is pieces of information that might lead to something bigger down the line. So up first, we have in 1 week's time, Manchester United have their AGM meeting. So basically, anybody who is a shareholder can attend this event either virtually or they can attend it in person. It's in New York. So basically that means that all shareholders can go and ask questions of the club. And now the usual format at these sort of things is there's a speaking session and then there's questions and answers. And what will happen is they will give a microphone to shareholders and they will ask questions of the board, ask questions of the ownership as well. So what do I think is going to be asked? Do you think that they will be asking about profits or money coming in or shirt sales or merchandise? No, they will be asking about the takeover. So I expect to see big news breaking on this probably this day next week when that goes down. And I think that will be very important. I think what we learn next week and within the next 7 days will really shape how this takeover is going as a whole. In terms of other stuff as well, Ben Jacobs has said all signs are pointing towards the 6 Glazers being determined sellers for the right price. The Guardian as well have added that Sheikh Jassim privately and publicly feels like he is ahead of Jim Ratcliffe in the takeover bid. And as well as that, the Daily Mirror have said the Glazer family now have decided their unity over the intentions of selling Manchester United in full this summer, which really boosts cheek to Sim's hopes. So who else have we got in the comments? Having looked at the takeover stuff there, we have Sadiq saying we need to sell Scott, Henderson and McTominay. Absolutely. I think sell those guys, we will get some money. I think Henderson £20 million. I think Scott McTominay 25 million. If we sell Maguire for 20, Fred for 20, that's about £100 million. That's a lot of transfer budget extra for Erik Ten Hag. Do I think we will do that? I probably don't, because Manchester United will either do one of two things. We'll either accept stupid bids, like we have done today for Zidane Iqbal of €1 million, or what we will do is ask for stupid money. We will ask for so much money that clubs will not want to buy these players. That is a real possibility as well. Lucky is saying, I'm taking 17. I want these guys gone. Stephanie says, if Fulham want Fred, we should get Yao Polenya from them. We need to do smart deals. I mean, we could do, absolutely, but we don't do smart deals. We are Manchester United, unfortunately, and the AGM is the anti-glazer meeting. I mean, yeah, maybe we'll have our own AGM next week and we'll react to anything breaking on that one. I'll try sort something out for you guys. Lucky Singh as well saying McTominay needs gone, Fred needs gone, Maguire needs gone, Ben Jacobs useless as well. All these players gone, do not want to have them anymore. Thank you very much for that, man. I do agree. I think in terms of the players we're trying to move on, a lot of them have been here for too long. I think we could have told last season that McTominay and Fred, Harry Maguire, those guys wouldn't be suited in a possession-based system where you're playing on the halfway line. Maguire, he's too slow. He wasn't suddenly going to get very fast over the summer. Scott McTominay suddenly wasn't going to learn how to play 70 or 80 passes in a match. Same for Fred. So I think we do have to realize that some of these players were never going to work out. So we should have already moved them on, in my opinion. And now we're relying on getting a lot of players out at one time. Let's see what else we have in terms of the notes, because there is quite a bit to get through. So another one here, and this is one for you, Lucky, as well, man. So we're talking McTominay. So in terms of Fred going, we're looking potentially. In terms of McTominay going, it's less likely. So this is coming from Jason Burt of The Telegraph, and he is saying, let me just shoot that up there. McTominay is regarded as less of a priority than Fred. Erik Ten Hag is prepared to keep him even though he has interest from Premier League clubs. I think that's unfortunate, because I think McTominay is a player we could have got a decent bit of money. You're talking a 26-year-old guy who's played a lot of Premier League football. He definitely would fit in at an Aston Villa, an Everton, a West Ham, somebody like that, and they would pay good money for him. I would be disappointed if we sell Fred and keep hold of McTominay, in my personal opinion. Who else have we got down here as well? So we have Rajat is saying keep Fred and no to Polenya. I think that's the great thing about this channel, because everybody has different opinions, and I like to engage with you guys. That's what it's all about. We got as well, Vera is saying hello, just stumbled on your channel, amazing content. Thank you very much for that, man. I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. Honestly, guys, like, see the support on this channel. Like, you guys actually blow my mind. It is genuinely incredible, because without you guys, I'm just sitting here talking to a camera in my room. Like, so it is great to have you guys with us, and I really do appreciate everybody. Dave is down there, waste of money. This lad is clearly miles off what we want. And Stephanie is saying this is where we're going wrong with transfers. If we sell players, we need to replace them, hence we do little to nothing. Decide who. Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think the Manchester United ownership, the guys running the club, would say if we sell 10 players, then we're going to have to bring in 5 players or 6 players. And that's a lot of money having to be spent. So he ends up with a very, very clustered squad. So, like, for instance, I've done this many times in the last couple of streams, but I think there's genuinely 10 players Manchester United could sell, and we would not be a worse club for it. And we could sell Brandon Williams, we could sell Alex Telles, Eric Bailly, Dean Henderson, Harry Maguire, McTominay, Donny van de Beek, Anthony Martial, Anthony Olanga, and then, I don't know, like, potentially Fred as well as that. So I don't think we could actually sell like 10 plus players and still not really miss them. And I think that is an indication of having a big squad, but it isn't a good squad. We have the raw numbers, but we don't actually have the quality needed. And that's why we do have these instances where we go out and what we do is we loan players out for no reason. Like, we've loaned Martial out before. We've had Telles on loan, Eric Bailly on loan, Brandon Williams on loan. Other clubs would have just sold those players, but we haven't, because we know we would have to replace them at some point. Who else we got in the comments as well? Lucky is saying, give Marcus Thuram on a free and Hojlund in. I would like that. I think that's really good. Stephanie is saying Axel Twanzebe. Yes, there's another good one. I did actually forget about Axel. And Phil Jones, of course, as well. Phil Jones. So there's, what, 12 players? And that's kind of crazy. Vera is saying, I don't think United will be able to raise even 100 million selling those players. Absolutely not, because we've held on to those players for so long, and we will not get a lot of money for them. Absolutely not. Ashida saying we're being linked to Nkunku now. Chelsea just got him. I wouldn't be surprised. The media put Man United on the end of a story just to sell newspapers or get clicks. I actually think it's if anybody does watch United People's TV, Sam is really good, and Sam basically has a big board up. And so far this summer transfer window, from Wednesday, we have been linked to 67 different players. So I expect that to hit at least 300. So not everybody we see will be joining. Who else have we got down there in the comments? Ashid is saying linked to Nkunku. Yes. Ibrahim is saying Zidane Iqbal for 1 million. This club, man. Absolutely. And people will point at Zidane Iqbal. They say, oh, he hasn't played Premier League minutes. Man City sold Gavin Bazunu for 12 million, and he hadn't played any Premier League minutes. Man City sold Lavia as well for good money. He hadn't played any minutes at the time. Pedro Porro went to Sporting Lisbon for 6 million. I mean, there is money to be had for these guys. And if we really wanted to sell Zidane Iqbal, what we should have done last season was loan him out after a very good pre-season. He could have went and had a good season, and then you would have a player who you can either keep or you can sell for more money. But we do not operate in a smart way. We are a long way off where we need to be in terms of being a good football club, both in terms of what's on the pitch and how we operate behind the scenes. In terms of buying players and selling players, we need to be ruthless. We need to be smart with it. Absolutely. Rajad is saying our club is not run well. No IQ. Absolutely, man. Stephanie saying Sam Peoples is a good guy. Yeah, I mean, I really like watching Sam's stuff. I really think he's a good guy. And yeah, his content's genuinely really good. So he is actually one of my bigger inspirations behind doing the channel. Let me check the rest of the notes for you guys, because there is plenty I still want to get through with you guys. So let's talk about a potential incoming. Let's talk Federico Di Marco. So of course, the Inter Milan left wing back, left mid. I mean, let's talk about him for a minute. So this is coming out Miguel Delaney, and he is basically saying that Ten Hag thinks he could use him as a very versatile player next season to add some depth to the team. So you're talking a guy there who can play left midfield and can also play left back. So does that make sense? It makes sense that he's a versatile player, but I mean, we already have Rashford and Garnacho on the left. We already have Luke Shaw and Malacia at left back. So I don't see how these sort of guys fit in. I don't think we will go on for them, guys. Let's see. Vera is saying after Qatar come in, we'll get a proper structure where we buy and sell the right amounts. Our biggest transfer will be the Glazers exit. Absolutely. I think I got a couple of people, it was on one of my earlier streams, I think it was when the Glazers said they were going, I said that this could be one of the biggest things that happened to Manchester United in the last 20 years, maybe the last 30 years. This could be one of the most important things, because this doesn't just mean we have more money to spend. This means that we will have an actual competent structure around our team. We'll have proper directors, people who want the club to be successful on the pitch, who are not interested in profits, who are not interested in dividends, and then we can really start to improve as a team. Because when you're running as a business, you have no chance in trying to compete with actual football clubs. You have no chance. When you're looking at profit lines, looking at dividends, looking at how much it will cost to bring in replacement players, you will never succeed in this game. It is you will always be limited in what you can achieve. Who else we got down there? Ronnie is saying any clubs interested in Martial, I would be happy for 25 million for him. I would be very happy with 25 million. I think the big thing with Anthony Martial is his fitness. A lot of clubs will look at this guy and say he will be injured for half of next season. He will miss 20 plus matches. And I think that's a big stumbling block in trying to sell him. I think it has been in the past, and I'm sure it will be again next season. I think if we can get that sort of money for Martial, I would go for it. But I do think as well, Martial is still a good player. I think if he managed to keep himself fit, you will be looking at a guy who would be worth 25, 30 million. But it's always been the fitness. If he cannot play, then there's no point being at the club. And other clubs will look at that as well. So if we can sell him, good. If we cannot sell him, I would not be surprised. Who else have we got down there? Rajat says, no to businessmen. Absolutely, we want to be a football club. We are not. We should not be a business. The fact that there is a Manchester United PLC that is floated on the New York Stock Exchange is honestly disgusting. Really, like, we're talking about the legacy of a football club, a sports club. We're not a business. We should never have been a business, and once we get away from that, I think we will get better. Rajat is saying, congratulations on hitting 1k. No worries, man. Thank you very much. Absolutely, the support from you guys, absolutely incredible. Hitting 1000 subs, really appreciate all the support. Vera is saying as well, I think it's to get Federico to get a club for go for him. Absolutely. I think Real Madrid are potentially interested, so I don't think we need to be buying any left backs. And Stephanie says the same. Alvaro Fernandez and Diogo Dalot can play left back. Strikers United. Absolutely, that has to be the big target. Let me check the rest of the notes for you guys, because there was some other stuff that we want to run through as well. What have we got? Yes, let's talk goalkeeping situations. So Samuel Luckhurst has come out with another article today saying Man United are now in the market for a new #1 goalkeeper. And I think this is kind of interesting because 4 months before the season ended, months upon months, there was talk that Manchester United were going to keep David De Gea on. They were going to offer him a new contract, and basically what would happen is we would bring in some proper competition. It wouldn't be Lee Grant, it would not be Tom Heaton, it could be somebody who could potentially take De Gea's place in the starting 11. Now, in recent weeks, this has shifted. It has completely moved away from that. Once we saw Verbruggen going to basically to Brighton, it did seem to be that we wanted to bring in a new #1 goalkeeper. David De Gea's contract expires in 10 days and it still has not been signed off. He was not included on the retained list. So David De Gea could be going to leave Manchester United. So we do have to look at a new goalkeeper. So that's another big signing to make as well. So who else have we got? I'm so fresh saying, enjoying the content, mate. Just subscribe. Do you think the Portuguese core of the team has created a bad atmosphere in the squad with Ronaldo, Dalot, Fernandez all having frequent tantrums? I don't know, man. I think from what we've seen and what we hear is a lot of those guys seem to have pretty good influences on and off the pitch. I think a lot of the issues earlier in the season were caused by the poor summer transfer window until we got Casemiro, the poor start to last season, the Ronaldo situation, the Harry Maguire captaincy. I think the club was a very toxic place this time last year, right before Erik Ten Hag walked in. I think that a lot of those guys probably are still tarnished with that sort of brush of negativity and stuff. So I'm hoping that there are good influences behind the pitch. By all reckoning, they do seem to be. But of course, we are not in behind the scenes, so we can only really react to what we're told online and stuff, and by journalists on this who genuinely have connections. But I do think that they do seem to be a good bunch of guys in the dressing room. Lucky is saying, I would like to see Hojlund tomorrow. Absolutely, I would love to see it as well. Rajat is saying we will be better business if run well. And Vera says, I love Diogo Costa or Raya. Yes, absolutely. I would love. I think in terms of what we want to bring in as a goalkeeper, I think the three obvious choices are Raya, Costa, and Andre Onana. I think that is the top of the tier. I think Diogo Costa is probably the best goalkeeper. I think in terms of who we're most likely to sign, it might be Onana, but I think Raya is probably the best piece of business. He would be the cheapest. He has the Premier League experience, and he could be a really good fit for this club. So, other stuff as well. Let me just check the notes as well, because there was a couple of things I wanted to run through. Let's talk about an outgoing. So, we're talking goalkeepers. Let's talk Dean Henderson. So, Nottingham Forest in talks with Manchester United for a deal that could go up to around 25 million, with Dean Henderson looking £90,000 per week as a wage. So, I think it's interesting. I think we might have to lower the price expectation. I think 25 million will be too much for Nottingham Forest to pay, but we might see a deal done around 15 to 20. Now, that's a better deal for Manchester United. That is at least some sort of money coming in. We're selling Zidane Iqbal for 1 million. I mean, if we can sell Dean Henderson for anything over 20, I think that is brilliant. So I'm hoping that that does happen. Who else have we got as well? Le Mans is saying, how much is De Gea worth excluding the Saudi interest? I don't know. I think it's an interesting one. I think United Stan did this on a video a couple of weeks ago. I did see it on Twitter or something. It was like, in terms of what De Gea can offer on the pitch, it depends solely on the team. I think for possession based teams, they would look at him and say you're not good enough passing. But for teams who are not so concerned with possession, you're more interested in a shot stopper, maybe you've got a better deal there. So he might be worth more to an Atletico Madrid, somebody like that, who do not control possession, than he would be to another club like a Barcelona or a Bayern Munich or something like that. But I do think it's interesting that not a lot of top teams do seem to be in for De Gea. I mean, this is a guy who a couple of seasons ago was regarded as the best goalkeeper in the world and did just win the Premier League Golden Glove, but he is on a free and nobody's come in for him. So I think that we will see what happens in the next couple of days. I think it will be a very important time for De Gea. I said as well that De Gea is in a good position because if he stays at Man United, he most likely is going to be the number one. If he goes to Saudi Arabia, he will make a lot of money. Or if he goes to Spain, he settles down with his family. So I think he does have options. I think he does have a decision to make himself as well. Who have we got as well? Vera says, I don't think Dane wants Forrest. He's willing and waiting for the situation. I think he might be as well. I think Henderson might be sitting thinking to himself, if De Gea goes, I might have a crack at this. I might have an opportunity. Personally, for me, I think Dean Henderson should have burnt his bridges last season with that Talksport interview when you come out and say you wanted to go before Ten Hag arrives because he would probably want to keep you. I think it's a little bit disrespectful. He also got as well. Antonis is saying, do you think we'll cheap out and keep Henderson? Honestly, man, anything is a possibility. I think United will look at Henderson as a guy who they can sell. We can sell him for a decent bit of money. I think we can sell 15, 20 million. I think that is a good deal. And if we need to raise money to have a better transfer budget, I think that's a good place to start. Dean Henderson, this is a guy who is going to Forest, 20 million, and seemingly has no long-term future at the club. So I think that's a very good offer. Ronnie is saying, what do you think of Courtois if he was to come to United? I did see the links. I think that I don't think it's going to happen with Courtois. I think he's a very good goalkeeper. Honestly, still one of the best, but I do think that United will probably go for someone else as well. Maybe an Onana or a Costa, maybe a Raya. I think that's more likely who we would bring in as a new goalkeeper coming in as well. Dave is down there saying it's time to be ruthless, cast sentiment aside, and sign players that are an Erik Ten Hag fit. Joe, man, I honestly could not agree with your statement anymore there. I could not agree with that. We need to be ruthless. We need to get players who are going to fit the system. We need to just cut anybody who isn't going to be there long term. We need to look at the squad. Maguire, De Gea, probably, Henderson. Who else? We've got McTominay, Fred, Martial, Van de Beek, guys who we know will not make it. We're just holding on to them for no reason. Just let them go, get them sold, and bring players in. Irfan is saying as well, El Nasseri would be a good striker to bring in, I think. In terms of an experienced player coming in, Erik Ten Hag wants not one, but two strikers. I think he could be that guy, and I think he has shown at Sevilla that he is a good player. Let's see as well. So I suppose this is kind of relevant to what we have been talking about as well. So this is coming from Rob Dawson. So he is saying Manchester United's budget is between 100 and 150 million pounds, and that can be bolstered by funds raised through sales. I think what we need to do is go out and get selling players and be ruthless, just as Dave was saying there. Be ruthless, sell the players we need to, and sell for good prices. That's what we must do, because other teams around us would do it. I mean, Liverpool sold Ryan Brewster. Ryan Brewster had not played 1 minute of first team football, and he was sold for 20 million. So that's kind of telling us where we should be aiming at. We need to be selling players for good money. That's what we must do. Rajad is saying, what do the Glazers want? 50 million. I think the Glazers are just looking all the money they honestly can get, man. We know what they're like at this point. We've known this for 20 years. I mean, it is a shame. Honestly, if we are talking takeover, I'm so... I'm tired of it. I mean, I'm sure you guys are as well. We are in this position from October, from literally the end of October, November time. It has been going on for so long. Stephanie is saying Matej Kovar could be the answer as number one or number two. Definitely could be. I mean, Kovar is a very good goalkeeper, and he won the Czech League with Prague as well. We're talking about a guy there, went out on loan and won a league title. That's really good in my opinion. Hey, also we got down there, Kerry is saying Henderson disrespected the club and cannot be allowed to stay. Sell him for a decent price and move on. Absolutely. Let's sell Henderson, decent price, and invest the money elsewhere. That's what we need to do. Rajad is saying ESPN are crap. I mean, I think in terms of an organisation, yes, I think Rob Dawson has a bit of credibility. I'll say he has been right on things before. But yes, as an organization, they're probably not the best. But I think the actual reporter is quite reliable, all things considered. Antonio says Fred needs to go as well. Is he better? He is better than McTominay, but his contract expires next season. Yeah, I mean, we're talking what, like 15, 20 million for Fred. I think that's a good deal. I would absolutely take this. This is a 30-year-old player in the last year of his contract. I think that's a good deal. Rajad is saying, how is Cherky at right wing at Leon? Do you know, I remember when Cherky sort of burst onto the scenes, there was a lot of buzz about the guy, a lot of attention. I haven't actually seen too much from him since then, but I mean, I will actually have a look at him after, see how he's been doing over in the French league. And as well as that, guys, we are asking a poll, because the big talk tonight, the big story came out that Man United are preparing to make a bid of around 60 million euros for Rasmus Hojlund. Now, this is coming from Dean Jones, and he is saying that they're trying to meet in the middle. So Atalanta looking closer to 100 million euros, Man United thinking they wanted to pay around 40. So meeting around 60, I think that's a pretty decent deal. So what are we saying in terms of that, guys? I'm asking you guys in the poll, should Man United sign Hojlund this summer? Yes or no? In terms of the actual poll so far, 140 votes. 90% of you guys are saying yes. So you guys do seem to want Rasmus Hojlund at the club. I think that's a good deal. I would be very happy if we did bring him in. Let me see as well. What else have we got? Of course, Zidane Iqbal has been going. He's going to Utrecht. So, who else have we got in the comments? It's actually flying in as well. Rajad is saying, when will United bid 60 for Hojlund? By all consideration, it does seem to be something happening very soon. It does look to be that United want to go in and get this deal done. It does look like this is a player that Erik Ten Hag wants. We know Hojlund really wants this deal and is pushing from it. This is coming from Romano, of course, that he is really pushing to join Manchester United. So I think all things are lining up potentially for a quick deal, and I think we need a couple of these. We need Mount done within a week. We need Hojlund done by the end of next week. Then we start to move on to other targets. Look to sell some players as well if that's what's going to be needed. But I do hope that we can progress. I do hope we can get these players in nice and early doors, because pre-season is a very important time of the season. It brings players in, gets them used to the new system, it gets them used to their teammates, the bond, the team spirit and stuff. It builds up. We do not want players missing that. We went last season with Christian Eriksen and Tyrell Malacia as the only signings on pre-season tour. Now, Lisandro Martinez joined in towards the end. Anthony didn't get pre-season. Casemiro didn't get pre-season. Casemiro didn't actually start a match until Everton away, and that was in September, and Anthony as well. So I mean, we need these players brought in early doors. Get them in pre-season. That will help Erik Ten Hag. That will help this team improve, and that's what we want to see from Manchester United. Some seriousness, because the other teams around us, they're getting to work. We're seeing Arsenal going after Declan Rice, Jurrien Timber. They're going after Romeo Lavea. They're going after Kai Havertz. They're improving. They've finished above us, and they're more ambitious, so they're trying to improve more than us. So Manchester United, we need to stop sitting on our hands. We need to stop sitting back and watching everything else happen. We need to get to work. That's what I would be sending to, that would be my message to anyone working at Manchester United. I'm sure Erik Ten Hag is as well. I'm sure he was absolutely furious at this. He wants this sort of stuff done. He wants this sort of improvements. He wants to see the team get better. That's what he wants to do. That's his job as a manager, and at the moment he cannot do. We want to be competitive. Absolutely, Rajad is completely right. We're looking to get Eriksen, and he's a free agent. Yes, I mean, it took us weeks to get Christian Eriksen as a free agent, and that's not great either. We need that ruthlessness, because just watch, when Man City go for their summer targets, they will get them within a week. Arsenal will have their signings done within a week. Chelsea are Chelsea, they will spend about £500 million and they will bring in about 20 players. We know this already, but they will be active in the market. Bayern Munich took Kim Min-jae from us. They're in for Rasmus Hojlund, so we need to be quick in our quest to get these players over the line. Rajad is saying United got left with trash picks and everybody else gets good. Yes, that's what happens. And I think as well, this is actually something I was actually talking to my dad about earlier. So he was saying the whole idea behind the United tax is kind of crazy. Whenever teams turn up normally to buy players, they do not need them desperately. So that's why they do not get charged so much. Manchester United are going to teams now. Every team in Europe, every team in the world knows Manchester United need a striker. Now, we would not be in desperate need of a striker if you were run properly. Whenever you run properly, you do not desperately need anybody to come in. So when teams see Man United coming for their striker, all of a sudden they'll say 100 million, because United are going to have to pay someone a lot of money for a striker this summer, at least one. So why wouldn't they? They will make that money. So it is unfortunate. It's just how we've been ran. Irfan is down there saying Gibbs White over Mount. Yeah, I mean, I like Morgan Gibbs White. I think he's a good player. Definitely was very good in the Championship for Sheffield United when he was on loan there. He did do very well at Wolves toward sorry, not at Wolves, at Nottingham Forest towards the end of last season. He did come from Wolves, of course, that was it. So I do think he's a very good player, and it will be interesting to see how he goes. I mean, he has a very nice link up with Brennan Johnson on the pitch, and they link up well for Forest. One of the main reasons why Forest actually stayed in the league last season. Let me just kind of another check here at the notes, guys. I think there was something else that we want to bring you guys. Yep, there we are. So just a quick update on Marcus Rashford. So obviously we broke the news last night. Pretty much came out all of yesterday. So we were discussing this for a while last night. Marcus Rashford, new contract. So how do we feel about Rashford's new contract? I think most people were happy he signed it. Luckhurst has come out today and he has said that Rashford's contract will be in excess of £300,000 a week. Now, I think whenever we look at what we pay other players, I think this is inevitable. Whenever you're Rashford and you've scored 30 goals, and you look at Jadon Sancho getting 350,000 a week. You look at De Gea getting 375. You look at Anthony Martial getting like 250 as well. So you have a lot of players there on big wages, and a lot of them aren't earning it. So obviously, players who are performing are going to demand massive money. So that's completely fact as well. Let's see who else we got there. Lucky Singh is saying Fred Fulham would enjoy that there one. Rajat is saying, what about Ruben Loftus-Cheek? Last time I saw Loftus-Cheek, it looked like he was going to AC Milan. I'm not sure in the recent on that one. I think Loftus-Cheek is an interesting player. He's a very good carrier of the ball. I think what Loftus-Cheek's big problem his whole career has always been staying fit, and I think that's really held him back. Lucky is down there. Mason Mount, Mohamed Kudus, I would like straight away, and get rid of Avram Glazer. I mean, yeah, I would definitely get rid of Avram first. I mean, Avram, Joel, get the rest of those guys out of the club. Then we take it from there. Then we are all of a sudden a serious club who are looking to be a football club, not a business, not a money maker, not a cash cow. That's what we need. Stephanie says, I think United are very lazy. Don't sell United as much as they should be. A United player means that you should get a premium transfer and a return to work both ways. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I do think I completely agree with that. I think we sell players for ridiculous amounts of money, and we buy players overpriced and we sell them massively underpriced. This is the Manchester United way. If any guys were wondering what that was, we're basically just buying players, keeping them for a couple of seasons. It doesn't work out, and then we sell them for like half the money we paid for them. And this has been something that's been ongoing for a very long time. I mean, Chris Smalling left United for like 5 million, went to Roma, and he's been their first choice centre back since. We, of course, bought Di Maria for like 65 million. We sold him a year later for 40. Lukaku, 2 seasons, and then we sold him for less than we bought him, and this just goes on and on and on. Of course, the big one's Pogba. I mean, you spend 90 million on a guy and then he walks away for free for a second time. I mean, only Manchester United, absolutely. Irfan is saying Patson Daka. I think Daka is an interesting player. It will be interesting to see where he ends up this summer. So definitely want to keep an eye on. Irfan as well saying that United players need to earn their place. Absolutely. I think United should be earning the place. I think it's really difficult to turn around and try to be a one club crusade against these high wages, but I do think that some sort of salary cap probably will come in at some stage. And Vera is saying as well, less than a second to smash the like button. Smash the likes, guys. Thank you very much for that, man. And if anybody does want to drop a like or even drop a sub, would really appreciate all the support, guys. And as well as that, we do have a Discord, so link is in the bio, and I will get it into the chat at the end of the stream as well. So we talk in there pretty much daily. We get all the transfer stuff in there, and that's where all transfer news, all club news, match day coverage and stuff, we do put it on in there. So if you guys want to check that out. Who else have we got as well? Stephanie says Johnny Evans was another. Absolutely. I think Johnny Evans was easily the best player out of Chris Smalling and Phil Jones and himself, and we sold the wrong player. Absolutely. Completely agree with that. Rajat says, waste yard to come, let Herrera go, should be angry about that move. Yes, I mean, that's another one. Let go for free. I mean, I think we would all be pulling our hairs out if we went through it all night and looked at it in depth. And I joked like last week. I said it's a good thing Ten Hag is bald because he will be pulling his hair out at this. And I genuinely meant it. I mean, Erik Ten Hag is a demanding guy. He demands the best. Whenever he did his job interview for Manchester United, he also interviewed the club. He asked them lots of questions and wanted assurances on things. And has he got it? I doubt it. I doubt it. Who else have we got as well? Lucky Singh saying, Manchester City, proper club. And Razat says 5 to 8 more minutes, Stefan. I'm not sure what that's on, man. Is that in hitting the hour mark? I don't know. Awusa is saying up Qataris as well. Yeah, I'll probably keep the stream going for another while as well, guys. Yes, Lucky Singh is absolutely right. Bayern Munich are a proper football club. Now, I do think Bayern have flaws in how they run. I think they try to take a moral standpoint too often. They do not have the money compared to the big clubs in England or in Spain. But I mean, Bayern do run as a football club, and I would love us to have some of that at United. Sporting people making sporting decisions in the interest of the football team, not in the interest of money coming in, not in the interest of profits and stuff, in order to make the team better. That's what they've done. For better or worse, in terms of sacking Nagelsmann, bringing Tuchel in, doing things like that. Bayern Munich run as a football club. The German clubs do it. We want to be a serious club again. We need to be better, and we need to get to that level. I mean, the big example is Real Madrid. Real Madrid are a global sports brand. They are one of the biggest teams in the entire world of football, maybe even any sport. And what do Real Madrid do? They make enormous amounts of money, but they run as a proper club. They have a proper contingency plan. They know what they want to do 5-6 years down the line. They've already managed to bring in Bellingham. They've brought in Tchouaméni. They've got Camavinga and Valverde. They still have their two best midfielders in Kroos and Modric. They've let go of Benzema. Now they're looking to try bring in Mbappe. They've managed to let go of players and replace them with young players. You're every bit as good as them now. So it is a real shame. It is a real shame that Man United cannot run at that at that level. Lucky saying we need to sell players and their plans are messed up. Absolutely. Stephanie says I watched the film Source Code the other night. I wish we could go back to 2005s and stop the Glazers getting in to avoid this show. Absolutely. And I do think it says a lot whenever you have United season ticket holders, guys who've been at the club their whole lives, walking away in protest, setting up FC United of Manchester. You're talking like the fans have always been anti-Glazer, and we always have been, we always will be, because we know what they were going to do to the club, we know what they've done to the club, and we know what they will continue to do if they stay at the club. So we do need to get rid of those guys as well. Katie is saying, please refresh your Discord link, seems to have expired. No problem, I'll do that right. Actually, I'll do it now as well, guys. I'll put it into the chat for you guys. Yeah, so I think it's disappointing. I think the writing has been on the wall for a very, very long time on this one. I would like to see us get moving on. That's what we want to see. Get those Glazers out, then we start to work from there, because then the Glazers won't be an excuse anymore. But I think it's more than just being an excuse. I think it's like the Glazers, the way they've run this club, the lack of ambition and stuff, it really has devastated us from the inside out. It slowly wore this club down to nothing, and it is a real shame as well. So guys, keep voting on the poll down below as well. We're asking you guys, should Man United sign Rasmus Hojlund this summer? It's a yes or it's a no. Let me know on the poll. At the moment, actually, 90% of you guys are saying yes to signing Hojlund. Rajad is saying, what do we do with Pellistri? I think Pellistri is a really interesting player. I really like Facundo Pellistri. He offers something a lot different to what our other wingers offer. I think he would be a good option to have, but I think at his age, 21, what Facundo Pellistri needs is first team football. He needs that first team football. I think we're lagging as well. Are we lagging? Potentially. Definitely saying too much uncertainty has paralyzed us. What's going on? Guys, can you guys still hear audio as well? Or has YouTube crashed on me? Let me know. Let me know if it's working, guys. If it's not, if it's lagging or whatever, I might have to end it here because I think there's a potential for something happening. Yeah, guys, give me a shout if we're lagging down below. I'm trying to get this Discord link up as well for you guys. I'm probably. Let me just see. Might just be opening Discord on my up here as well. That might be the issue. But guys, let me know as well. Oh, there we go. We're fixed. Stephanie's saying we're all good now. Thank you very much for that. Yes. Sabosu says we want Mbappe. I think Sheikh Jassim would love Mbappe at Manchester United. I think that's part of his plan. I think what Qatar would love to do is basically keep him on. If Qatar can keep Kylian Mbappe within their sports group, that's a big, big plus. That's a big plus for those guys, and that will be something they will want to keep on doing because he will be the big marketer. He will be the crown in their jewel of their sporting empire, of their sporting brand. They will want to keep him. If Sheikh Jassim can get him to Manchester United, I think that's going to be good for him. Katie is saying, I missed the show when we crossed 1,000 subs. Yeah, to be fair, we weren't actually live at the time. I actually was in bed and I woke up and it was like 1,001. So there wasn't actually on there as well. Rajat says all good. Thank you very much for that, guys. I don't know what happened there. It just says YouTube is not receiving enough video. I think it might be my camera's overheating, but I am actually running a fan at my equipment as well, trying to keep it cool. Any more thoughts, guys? Get them down into the comments as well. If anybody is new and would like to join in with the community on Discord, the link is in the bio as well. And if you guys would like to join in with the channel's community, you know what to do. Hit that sub button. Really helps the channel grow as well. Any more thoughts, guys? Get them down below into the comments. Rajat says glazers are messing with Stefan's Wi-Fi. Yeah, I mean, maybe they are. I think it's an overheating issue because it says something about the camera. Rajat is saying, give Pellistri to Real so they can stop Man City. I mean, I think Pellistri could do with a good loan. I think going to somewhere that's actually going to improve him. He went to, Deportivo Alaves and did not work for him. I actually think, in terms of a transfer, Zidane Iqbal has done very well. I think going to the Dutch league will be a really good. It could be a really good learning experience for him. He will get proper football at a team that is going to play him, and I would expect to see Zidane Iqbal getting a big move within 2 to 3 seasons. I think that definitely could be a real possibility. Abshir is saying, when would the Glazers leave this club? If they had their way, they would never leave. I'm hoping they will leave very soon. Now, we said at the start of the show, for anybody who did miss out at the start, the big talk is, so we have an update from the Daily Mirror. Now, the Daily Mirror are basically saying that all of the Glazers are pretty much united and they are planning to sell the club in full. That's massive because, as we know, the only man who is offering to buy Man United in full is Sheikh Jassim. That's the big thing. That's the big thing there. So he will definitely be feeling a boost from that. This day next week is the Manchester United AGM, so there will be public questions. There will be questions from the media, going to the board, going to the owners, shareholders as well. So do expect to see some sort of updates because they cannot lie to their own shareholders. It cannot happen as well. Mwan is saying Glazers out. Absolutely get those guys out of the club. Lucky Singh as well. Marcus Thuram has experience. Garnacho and Rashford will be crucial. Yes, I think I would love Thuram. I think Thuram probably is going to Liverpool from the looks of things, unfortunately, but I would like to see Manchester United make a move for him because this is a guy 25 years old, free transfer, 15 goals last season, French international, was in the World Cup squad. So you're talking here about a guy who probably would cost you £30 million to buy going for free. So there could be an experienced striker, and then you could go and get a Hojlund, and then you've got 2 options, and that could be a really big plus for Manchester United going into next season. Any more thoughts, guys? Get them in down below. Lucky is saying Real Madrid have got it right, and they reacted with young players. Absolutely. And Real Madrid went out and they bought the best young players in their positions. They also got down there. Cressy's down there as well. Being a United fan is exhausting at this point. Beating around the bush for seconds and bitten around the burst for the seal at this point. I don't even believe it. Cheers for that, man. Honestly, yeah, we are bidding around the burst. We are sitting on our hands. It is so disappointing, but I'm hoping to see some progress. I think by this day next week, we will see something on the takeover. Something either before the AGM or something said at the AGM. Some sort of confirmation to shareholders, and that will break in the news. Make no mistake about it. I mean, if you were out there, if you're at the United AGM and you had your phone on you, you would probably be recording it and putting it on Twitter. So people probably will do that. So expect to see something happen. Hey, else have we got as well? Vera is saying, what do you think of Mount transfer? I think Mount could be a good player for us. I think it all comes down to price. Anything over 50 million is too much. I mean, this is a guy with 1 year left on his contract. 1 year left. So I do think what we need to do is £50 million maximum bid, maybe put on some add-ons if he plays 30-40 matches next season, and then from there, if it's a no deal, we can get better players by offering more money as well. Lucky is saying Ben Jacobs said anything. Yes, there was one thing from Ben Jacobs. Let me just check this. I know everybody has a lot of thoughts on Ben Jacobs. Some people like Ben Jacobs. Some people do not like Ben Jacobs. Let me have a check here for you, man. Yeah, so Ben Jacobs. I'll put it into the chat as well for you guys. So, Ben Jacobs says all signs point towards all six glazers being determined sellers for the right price. We always know what the right price is. It's always going to be as much as possible. Um, Guys down here as well saying oil us up. I mean, yeah. I mean, if it's gonna go that way, I think that's how it's gonna go. I do think Qatar will become the owners. I think they will eventually get the club. No doubt in my mind about it. Miwan is saying oil us up, and when Qatar, Ashid is saying Juventus are planning a contract extension for Rabiot. I think it's interesting. I do think that if Rabiot was likely to stay, he probably would have signed already. So it might be a similar situation to the De Gea deal. So we will see what happens on that one. Rajat says, with Mason Greenwood, I personally would give him away back. He's human, give him at least one more chance. And Lucky says, yeah, working. Thank you very much for that, Lucky. I think the big thing with Greenwood is going to come down to this investigation. I've said it all along. It depends on what the club are going to do, because there's a good chance the sponsors might not want Greenwood associated with their brand. There's a good chance there might be a kick up from the women's team and from the United players as a whole. Some players do want him back, some players do not want him back. So I think it will come from that. I think it will come internal and external. The big consideration for this club, as we know, is always money. So if the money's going to be affected, there's a chance that Greenwood will be let go because of that. So we will see what happens on that one. Abashir says, Onana or Costa, which one is better for us? I think Diogo Costa. I think Costa is better in all aspects of goalkeeping. I think in terms of Onana, you have a more experienced player, probably a little bit cheaper, has worked with Erik Ten Hag before, knows the system inside and out. So I think Onana might be a better immediate fit, but I think in terms of who has the better potential, it has to be Costa. Costa is 22, 23, Onana is 27. So I would say that I would probably go for Diogo Costa, all things considered, between those two. Moran says, do you think Mount is worth 70 million? No, I don't think he's anywhere near 70 million. I think 50 at most. That is your final bid for me. Lucky Singh says, are we in exclusivity talks for the Middle Eastern party? I think it's interesting regarding that, because Ben Jacobs said that Manchester United would not have exclusive talks and the next step would be a winner of the takeover. Then last week, all the talk was that there would be exclusive talks. I think genuinely somebody is getting it wrong. I'm more inclined to believe Reuters and Financial Times, who are saying United will have the exclusive talks, and not listen to Ben Jacobs on this one. That would be my personal opinion. Rajat says Georgia and Scotland got suspended. I didn't actually say that. Is there a reason for it? Is it in Georgia? I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, it's interesting. I hadn't seen anything about that, man. But any more thoughts, guys, get them into the comments. The poll pretty much is finished. 90% of you guys are saying yes to signing Rasmus Hojlund this summer. Any more thoughts, guys, get them into the comments as well. And let me just have another check. Let's see if anything has broke, or if I can tell you guys why the Scotland match is cancelled tonight, why I got called off. Let me see. Lisandro Martinez is actually back in Lisandro Martinez is now back in Manchester United training, which is good, back in the gym. So we'll be glad to see Lisandro Martinez back for sure. Let me just check here. Lucky saying can't show it. Unfortunately not, man. I probably will get banned for copyrights if I do put the Scotland match on. I feel like that's probably something YouTube might be angry at. Let me see as well. Yeah, I actually can't see anything why it has been cancelled. Any more thoughts, guys? Get them down into the comments, and yeah, keep voting on the poll as well. Kerry says technically we won't be oiled up if Jasim takes over. We'll be gassed up. Qatar is all natural gas. It's a good point. Sheikh Jasim himself, his money has actually come from being a banker with Credit Suisse and stuff. So it would technically be a banking takeover at United if Sheikh Jasim took over. I can actually see, what guys, I can see that I'm starting to lag again. I think we were lucky last time. I think I'm going to end the stream here just before Ash and it stops working. So guys, if anybody would like to subscribe, please consider hitting that sub button, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Thank you very much for joining in with us. As always, guys, much appreciated.